Oh boy, that one, I sure you don't know this one.
Nope, I will not pretend. I will not be a fraud here on television.
This one is Bomber, actually. Bomber.
You're right.
This one is called Animal Sports.
Animal sports.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't really go with the next topic, but the sports part kind of does.
All right.
I know, it's kind of a play on that. But either way, it's Calypso History Month, so we continue to celebrate.
To celebrate Calypso,
and Bomber's one of those Calypsonians.
Long live the art form.
Yeah, and Bomber's one of those guys that I know for sure he's been doing like a different style of Calypso, if you know what I mean. Like his writing is impeccable.
Right.
And he's had some double entendre
that, you know, a little child can listen to it and enjoy it, but without understanding it.
Right. So Animal Sports is the name of that one, and we're going to move on now to some sports.
Yes, we are going to be talking about sports. And of course, we have our continued segment from playground to podium. And we'll be speaking with Marissa Gibson Bailey, who is an exercise psychologist and sport and exercise scientist and certified exercise physiologist. And of course, we're going to be chatting with her in a little bit. And here she is. Good morning, Marissa.
Hi, good morning, Carrie. Good morning, Rockets.
Good morning,
how are you guys?
Marissa.
Oh, great. Well, we know you have some celebration.
Yes, yesterday was my husband's birthday, Kester Bailey. I just want to wish you all the best, all the love in the world from Joshua and I and your family.
And also from us here on the Now Morning Show.
For sure.
Yes,
because you've been with us a while. You're like family to us as well.
Yes, thank you. Good to hear that.
So today's episode of Playground to Podium, we'll be speaking about the interrelation or the link between physical education and sports science. So let's start speaking on that topic right now. Based on your training and professional experiences, what are your views on physical education?
I see physical education as the foundation. As I said it last time when we had our friend from South Africa, physical education is all-encompassing of psychology, it's all-encompassing of nutrition, it is all-encompassing of the basis or the foundation for sport skills. And that is why when we spoke last time, I didn't want to incorporate the concept of sport because I want the public to understand, those who are interested in physical education, those budding professionals to understand that physical education by itself is something that is huge, something that is all-encompassing and different. Basically, sport is really the subset of physical education. Remember, we did different types of physical activity, you know? So to me, it is a good opportunity within the school system, within the educational system for the government, for the nation to invest in having health and fitness, to have a fit and healthy nation through our young people, through our children, right? So you could always, the concept of physical education and what it brings to the table in terms of the learning outcomes, in terms of the characteristic, the physical attributes that comes out of it, you want to invest in that at the preschool, at the primary school, and even consolidate it at the secondary school.
Yeah, that's right, because it would also touch on other things such as health and even productivity on the job and things like that. Once people are, they have that foundation of fitness and health in their lives.
Yes, because you remember it's a 360. You talk about psychologically, where you have to interact with other people at a social level.
Yeah,
right? In physical education, there's so many activities, whether it's through game, play, activities of daily living. It teaches you the foundation that you would reiterate if you were in a particular sport, especially team sport, or even if you are at health and fitness where you interact with other persons, you talk about fair play. As I always tell students that I interact with, that yellow flag that FIFA always brings out, it represents fair play. And these are the values that you will learn at the level of physical education.
Right.
And I'm saying the least when we're talking about physical education at this point, because there's so much to it. There is so much to it, and I think that it's important that we focus on it. I think that it be incorporated properly within the school, and again, we come back to quality, so that you could be able to get the actual learning outcomes. You could actually get the outcomes from it, so that you use it as a springboard for the very same sport that we want to capitalize and commercialize in the long run. If we're looking at talent identification, you wouldn't want to start at doing sporting skills. This is just my opinion, right? You would go back to things like physical literacy, right? You'd wonder why students who are at physical education in secondary schools don't want to participate. I don't think it's because they don't have the uniform. I think it's because they do not know how to maybe run, jump, or throw properly. When you look at the different sports, especially track and field, there is a manifestation of run, jump, throw.
Right.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And if you don't know how to do these things properly, look at the complicated skills in track and field. Look at the complicated skills in volleyball. If you don't know how to do these things properly, then you would not be able to do those complicated skills. Far less to think psychologically about the tactical aspect of the sport.
Right.
We are losing out on a lot of athletes, or potential athletes, if we do not fix the aspect of physical education, the foundation. As the Bible would say, if you build a house on sand, it's not going to last.
It will slip away.
Yeah.
That's
So
right,
I think this is a good period to reset. I just think that this is a great period to reset. Let me just think out loud in terms of my thoughts relating to seeing a lot of camps for little children specifying or being more specific into sports. You see them playing football at an earlier age, and you'll wonder why we have so much injuries later on. It's because we are not focusing on the basic. We are not focusing on the competency part of it.
And the education itself.
Exactly. And then the parental involvement. If we start at home, even in this period, little things like jumping over pillows, like we've seen in one of the videos,
right?
Getting these skills, strengthening the body of the little ones. I mean, you're playing, but you're doing unconsciously to them. You're doing the activities that want to leading them from one stage to the next. I think that is really, really, really key.
And briefly, how would you describe the relationship or the link between physical education and sports psychology?
Again, we go back to the mind. And this is something that I always like to put a note on. We always feel that the body is separate from the mind. One of our guests today, I'm so sorry that she's not here today, is that we've worked together with national athletes in this country, teams as well as individuals. And the interaction she and I had in terms of work is that when we did our analysis separately before we came together to discuss, we recognized that actually you've seen in the results that I would have gotten physiologically, that it manifested psychologically, or if you want to say it the other way around.
Right.
And we had not really a bold moment there. It's like, look at this. People feel that the mind is separate from the body. It's not. Sometimes, and not sometimes, most of the times, those thoughts of athletes do reflect and manifest physiologically. And this is where you have to have that holistic team support team, around your athlete, around your team. Because what may not show up or what you may not see by just having a psychologist alone, you have the consolidation of that information and that finding in other areas, and you are able to address this athlete, you're able to address this team in a more holistic way.
And it really shows the link there, and that the physical education and the sports psychology goes hand in hand.
Yes,
Marissa, that is all we have time for today. But I want to thank you again for joining us. And of course, you're gonna join us again next week as we continue to speak on the topic of from playground to podium, and the various important aspects of sports science, of physical education, and so much more. So thank you again, Marissa Gibson Bailey.
Thank you so much. Have a blessed day.
You as well.
Bye.
Bye. All right. So again, that was Marissa Gibson Bailey, who is a sport and exercise scientist and a certified exercise physiologist. And again, that is our continued segment from playground to podium. Now, though, we are going to take a short break, and when we come back, we have much more, and we're going to be speaking about the President's Award. Stay locked.
Donkey beat them, enjoying the discuss, but that wasn't all.